Let's get more on that military situation with Hassan Khannenje. He's the director at Horn International Institute for Strategic Studies. Hassan, thanks so much for speaking to us. So listening there to our correspondent speaking about the military situation as it stands right now and those areas where we're seeing more intense fighting with the RSF looking, it would seem, to advance towards the capital, Khartoum. What is their end game here?
Absolutely. I think the recent loss of el-Fasher by the SAF was a strategic defeat by the Sudanese armed forces and a strategic success by RSF. And they've always set their sights on Kordofan as a way of consolidating their hold in balkanizing actually Sudan. And right now, by de facto, they're moving to ensure that whatever pockets of resistance exist in the Kordofan region have been removed. Now, that is going to strengthen the bargaining hand, at least at the negotiating table. Now, of course, ultimately is for RSF to assume power. But of course, they also realize the challenges, that are going to be involved in taking over the entire Sudan, and that is why the move against Kordofan, which is not exactly surprising, because there've been attacks, against Kordofan, without actually stop for many months today. And so, with the fall of el-Fasher, that has provided a pathway to consolidating their hold on pretty much more than half of what is supposed to be strategic aspects or areas of Sudan.
Can you also just explain to us how the RSF has actually managed to regroup and now take that very important and strategic city of el-Fasher, which by all signs seems to be under siege? There's no aid getting in there. People are talking about horrific things that are actually happening there. But how has this group managed to regroup over the last few months to be able to do this?
I think initially part of the reason they suffered defeats in places such as Khartoum as well as elsewhere was they had overstretched themselves. And what we have seen increasingly in recent months is they've been concentrating their forces in trying to retake some of the areas that were either government controlled that had been lost towards government. And so this concentration of forces, of course, in addition to the new technologies that they're deploying, especially the drone technologies, as well as resupply that I think they had been lacking for some time, has actually changed the equation. Now, further, there is a momentum shift that is also encouraging the rank and file of RSF to keep pushing further. So I think they are a lot more disciplined right now, even though they are committing extremely and a lot of atrocities based on the reports coming from the ground. But that reorganization in concentrating forces, in taking one city after another, I think has made a fundamental difference in this ongoing war.
Hassan Khannenje, thank you so much for explaining that so well to us. Appreciate your analysis.